Hi all. It's One Must Fall, of course. Of course. It does, Turi. I use my local mono switch here. Sounds pretty good. All right. Are they all like that? Like Arena 1? Or Arena? Yeah. Yeah, it's also really wide. Jeez. I wonder if that's like a symptom of how it was captured as opposed to the actual original track. I mean, panning wouldn't be part of DSP Enhanced, would it? I guess being a fighting game, it's like... I mean, all the sounds are going to be in the center. Alright, well... who cares? Moving on. Moving on, I guess. Jay Greenstein, you here? Game was good though. It was fun. Whoa, jeez. It's getting windy. My window open here and it's like flying in. I know there's a few snares. They're all nuts. That it's pretty sick too. It's like a phaser or something. Alright. Jake, make yourself known. I was in Nova Scotia last week and could not do Real Talk, so apologies if anyone rolled in and no one was here. Sorry about that. I realized the night before or something, or the day of, I can't recall, near to this stream. And ended up, and I had like no work, anything on me. So I like texted Jake and was like, hey, sorry. Thanks to the number. And seems Jake should be here. Given our brief chat last week, we'll see. Let me zoom in too. Yeah, so welcome everyone in. I think I'm just gonna dive right into things today a little bit, but this is Real Talk. We're gonna look at Jake Greenstein. The website, the materials, otherwise. To try to give some actionable, constructive criticism in the effort of helping someone like Jake, specifically in this case, helping them get their foot in the door. I feel like we'll learn. I think I saw that they're already kind of working a little bit, at least kind of. We'll see. It's Big Earn, like Big Ernie. Oh, it's Aaron Bowers. It's not Ernie at all. Earn, like Aaron, Earn. Aaron Bowers. Aaron Bowers, you had the. Jeez, let's get you real a long time ago. You had the ladder thing, right? Was that you with the ladder? If it is you, you'll know what I'm talking about. I think the ladder was you. I think you had that Unreal project that was like your own personal thing and was showing occlusion or something. I can't recall what it was. I can kind of picture some of it, but. And the Frost Fatality thing. Oh, the article. I recall that. And Steven kind of weighed in on that too, didn't he? I believe. Where's my sidechain? Where's my very strong sidechain? It's too strong. Too strong. Alright, yeah, it's good to see you. Okay. We are going to be focusing on a few different things today. Alexander, how you doing? Those things are down below here. They may come as a little surprise to everyone in the chat right now, but presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. Presentation is their identity in the branding of Jake Greenstein. Can we find our way around easily? Are there things to see? Is there too much to see? How's the reel itself? How's the length? How's the flow? Pacing? Titling? Splashes? All that stuff. It's all important. Typos. Are there typos? Do we see typos thus far? I see 0 typos thus far sticking out at me. It's a good start. Good start, certainly. So sick. Next up here, material selection. What appears in the reel? What appears in the portfolio down here? And what do those things suggest to us, if we're coming in fresh, which we are, about Jake's background, past work history, skill sets, ambitions, all this stuff, you know? Third thing, content quality. Just, is it good? We're looking at this stuff from angles of balance and panorama and frequency range, dynamics, dimension, interest. It's probably somewhere to improve somewhere. Probably, I imagine. We'll see what we find. Oh, next tune. Arena 1, coming at you. Maybe. Maybe, if we're lucky. If we're lucky. Oh, he just went. It's another banger. It's so good. If we're lucky. We are. And last thing, just distinction. Just, is this person standing out in some positive way? Do they have some kind of ladder-based transition in their demo reel? Was it Soma and Subnautica Below Zero? Is that what it was? Aaron Bowers in the chat, for anyone rolling in or who was here previously, I was talking about ladders. Aaron Bowers had a reel on Real Talk a long time ago. I don't know how long it was. It's been a while. And in the reel, there was a real hot transitional moment between two games, Soma and Subnautica Below Zero. I think it was the other way around. But, oh, yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, so the idea was climbed up ladder and then crested top of ladder, and the cut crossfade happened at the top of the ladder, and both clips had the ladder. One had the ladder leading in, one had the ladder leading out. So it was like, whoop, good to go. Amazing, deliberate, concise, flowed so well. I recall this ladder like years later, whatever that was, Aaron. I have no idea. It's been some time. Pretty sick though. Pretty sick. Distinction. Goes a long way. People don't edit their reels like that very much. So nice when it happens. It's exciting when it happens. And yeah, important to stand out because so many people need jobs. They're looking for them. And there are only so many of them to go around. So if you blur into the background by being kind of mid and not standing out, you're not going to find much luck, unfortunately. You'll be dead in the water. So, shall we? Back to here, please. Let's pause these hot tunes and get on with it. Jake Greenstein. Let me know if you're here, Jake. If/when you roll in. Thanks to everyone else for rolling in, of course. J.A. Greenstein, 778. Got it. We got, this is a vertical page. Seems it. We got home, bio, contact. Yeah, I see that in the address bar there. It just is, or status bar. It's just going to the same place. We're going where we already are. Bio. I am Jake Greenstein, a sound designer currently based in LA. A graduate of Emerson College in Boston, comma, I earned a BA in audio post-production. For the past several years, I've been working in localization/dubbing, where I have gained experience in dialogue editing QCing, quality control, I guess, QCing, audio description mixing, as well as working with Dolby Atmos. In addition to localization, I have done a variety of creative audio freelance work. My professional goal is to be a sound lead for a AAA studio that oversees first-person shooter titles. For me, the ability to magnify the gaming experience. Magnify? I guess. Is exciting. Magnify. Outside of audio, you'll likely find me running a fantasy esports platform. Yeah, Infamy, right? I feel like I saw that on Twitter. At the gym or cooking recipes from around the globe. Magnify, I guess that's... Is that a correct usage of that word? I guess. Like to make more exciting, I guess is what you're looking for, right? Magnify. Yeah. I guess, kind of. Make something appear larger than it is. I mean, that's what, of course, like a microscope, right? Or a magnifying lens. I think you mean like, what's the word? Chat, please help me out here. What is to make, to increase, to amplify? I guess is maybe better. Amplify. That's what we want, right? To increase the strength or amount of, to make larger or greater. Elaborate and large synonyms. Give me those synonyms. Expand upon. Yeah, sure. Magnify. I am dwelling too much. It's fine. Elevate. Elevate is nice. Ooh, elevate is wonderful. Magnify feels rude to me. Probably just a me problem. Don't worry, Jake. Moving on. Contact. There it is. All that stuff. We have, there it is right there. Infamy. I was right. LinkedIn seems to go somewhere. YouTube seems to go somewhere. Does it go somewhere good? There is not quite nothing here, but nothing in the home at least. Latest, 3 months ago, 3 months, 4 months. So pretty recent-ish, 5 months. Cool. Where's the reel? Is that not on YouTube? Is it just baked? Oh. No, it's here. Sound design reel. Maybe it's unlisted. Did I just miss it entirely? Sound design reel. No, it's not here. Is it a different page? 778. Weird. I don't have an explanation for this. Well, just oldest? This is all of them. I'm not missing it. Oh, it's right here. Did I miss it the whole time? I guess I did. Ignore me. Perhaps I should magnify the things on this page so I can see it. Okay. So we'll not watch this quite yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Classic. It's just like widget stuff. No one's going to share your reel from this page. It's never going to happen. Wise demo reel. We got part of the School of Video Game Audio's Wise course. I made a video showing some of the implementations I added to the 3D game kit. No period. Throw it on there. Recreated the character selection animation for Ash, Apex Legends, including the UI, DX, and SFX. This is a sentence fragment. Probably a comma here is better. Comma, lowercase I. Next, for the mini jam, game jam. This is for Magic Mush. So this is, yeah, there's kind of a mix of like full sentences and bullet pointy things. Just try and be consistent if you can. For the mini jam game jam, over the duration of a weekend, I designed all the sounds for my teams. Teams? Were there multiple teams or just the one? In which case this apostrophe should be here, right there. Puzzle speedrun game link here. Cool. Magic Mush. Got it. Savior's redesign. No comment. Who needs it? No comment here either. So That's kind of a strange thing too with no design, no subtext on those last two. Not the end of the world, but we shall glance. All right, perhaps we can just jump right into this. It's a trim-ish page. There's not a lot to look at. There's not nothing. It's what is happening here? Portfolio top, portfolio bottom. What? This feels like some extra buttons. Reel. All right, sure. Home, reel. Let's watch a reel. We get the zoomed in widget thing. We're gonna go. Oh, there's more here though. Is that different than the text on the main page? Oh, there just isn't text here at all. So, excuse me. Let's see. So, Jake Greenstein. This is my sound design reel, covering redesigns from Apex Legends, StarCraft 2, and The Witcher 3. I have longer. This is all just fluff. We don't need any of this stuff. Game audio, sound design. What are these hashtags? What is happening here? Why are there hashtags in this? I have never seen hashtags ever. Is this like in the... Oh, this is just the description. That's what it is. It's the YouTube description. Okay, I got it. I got it. It's like importing the description from YouTube. Is this a thing? Though, if I go like somewhere else that isn't Jake, let's go to the One Must Fall soundtrack. Like, don't you just put tags? And do tags show up here though? I've never used hashtags on YouTube. I guess I'm the problem here. Hashtag Witcher. There's the URL. Yeah, okay. Fair. I'm just not in the know. It's a me problem, as it often is. It just caught me off guard being on the webpage itself. Okay, let's watch it in the webpage, I guess is fine. We'll watch it here. So 111, just barely on the long side, probably not a problem. We'll make sure the settings are actually saying auto 720, that's not good. So full quality, full volume, sidechain off. Let's go 3, 2, 1, and. Whoa. And we're done. I have no clap button because it's broken right now. So claps, everyone, please. Claps in the chat if you could. Thanks, Jake. The intro felt really short. I mean, you saw me react or not, but I was like, okay, we're going in. It's already happening. This felt quick. I read your name only, and it was like gone. So I mean, 2 seconds is fine. Just go 2. It's a little more reasonable. Yeah, this is quick. It's just gone. Not brutal, but also capital A at? What is happening here? You see that? That's crazy. Is that how ats work? Is it a lowercase a in a thing, or is just the shape of the at happens to be a lowercase a looking thing? Capital A at is crazy. Okay. So, presentation wise, I was happy to watch the whole thing through. I mean, it's definitely, well, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, it's kind of a weird ending, isn't it? Like hard cut into silent final splash. And also just like a real slow kind of ramp down to it, right? I mean, right? I think it's the hard cut and the Foley and stuff that's kind of catch me off guard. It's a little odd. Yeah, and then whoop. Yeah, not a huge fan of the ending, but otherwise, let's look at some transition stuff for flowing. 3 things only is kind of bare minimum, and the issue is that all 3 are redesigns of linear content, but not the end of the world, but not very diverse. We're getting into material selection a bit here, so I'll back over to pacing stuff. So pacing, I mean, because it is only 3 things, it kind of stands out as being only 3 things. But the transitions, let's have a look. First is here. It's kind of nothing particularly ladder style, as we've been saying earlier in this stream. It's also quite sudden. Like it's not just that it's crossfadey. It's going from action, like active gunfire, close-up gunfire. You know, we're cutting to this clip, and so this piece, it's like, and we're into this. We begin to fade before the cut, you know? So we're fading, as far as this frame, we're definitely fading right now. And then we keep fading, and then it cuts to here. And so it's going to black, but it's not even a full crossfade, is it? It's like we're crossfading from black or something. It's kind of a weird fast crossfade. It's a fast crossfade at a time that is during the from the former into the latter clip. The former clip is changing while you crossfade to the next one. So it's kind of awkward. It's just very sudden. Like you're kind of rug pulling it. So I would encourage you, Jake, to consider not just like this absolutely reads as here's some things I did, drop, crossfade maybe, and ship it. Maybe consider at the bare minimum where you are crossfading. You know, I mean, if it's again ladder style, like Aaron Bauer's ladder style was like the gold standard. You know, it's amazing when it's very, very clear you've given some thought into kind of where you are transitioning and from clip to clip. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but it sure stands out if you do, you know? So this kind of clip is bordering on actually negative. It's not just the absence of a plus, which is when you have a tasteful transition from one clip to another with nothing particularly in common between them, you know? But with the, when you start getting into like jarring stuff where it's suddenly like, and we're somewhere else, that's now going to be maybe, okay, well, this is now a problem because we have audio being the whole point of sound design is to support and drive narrative. And if the journey you're taking us on in terms of showing us your work is a bit kind of, well, it just isn't smooth for whatever reason, whether it's like slow pacing or like hard cuts or whatever, if it's jarring or distracting for any reason, well, that, you know, it's easy for someone to draw a line between that and, oh, okay, well, if their job is to support narrative and the narrative they're bringing us on right now is kind of not super smooth, then I start to worry, right? So try to think about that in terms of where you were doing these transitions. It does weigh in, you know, even though it's not just audio alone. It's kind of strange here. And I did notice that the first time watching through too. The next transition is what? Where is it? We got a big stomp, right? way better. Like that's a transition right there, you know? This is a full, I mean, this is even, you know, it's not too long. It's like a reasonable length clip. But right here, we have roar, and then what's gonna happen? And wha-bam. This is a natural conclusion to this clip. Whereas this previous clip, it's not a conclusion. It's still actively happening. I mean, there are clips changing like as you are fading out, right? Like it's obviously still happening. So there's a stark contrast here between these two different things. A liter of cola. Oh, are you Jake Greenstein, perhaps? Or are you just saying you're just rolling in? Regardless. Either way, happy to have you. Oh, you are? Cool. Rad. No sweat. We've only been talking about your reel a little bit so far, so feel free to catch up on the VOD to... I mean, I'll probably talk a little more about those things as we carry forwards, but you can watch what you missed later on. No problem. But right now, talking about transitions, this transition is not great because things are happening as you fade. There's no natural conclusion. The fade's kind of a rug pull, you know? Whereas this one is, it just makes more sense. It's like, and wha-bam. Too bad, buddy. Say goodnight. And gone. So that is, yeah, this is just obviously just a way better transitional moment. So, and then to the end, the ending transition is, I would argue, an issue. Because we have sound fully into a hard cut to silence and then nothing in the final second. Also, only a second is very short again, just like the start. So you might as well let audio carry on through the ending, you know? You have audio here, J-cut, right? We have that audio before seeing the visual. It's good. You know, we have that for that like pre-life before we see the thing. So might as well have it here too. So we can hear things at the end. All right. Titling wise, the bottom, what do we got? Well, I guess just in general, we have what? I mean, this is relevant to your main page, is it? Not really. You know, we have this kind of tan, beige, earthy tones identity going on here with this font and this font and this font. And then this one is where this impact. It's just its own thing, right? Like there's nothing in common here between this and your main page. So why not just please use this. Why not? And like use this font for your titling. Why not? It's such an easy win. It shows a little more consideration for creative direction of how you are presenting yourself. It's a very small detail that can go a long way, and a lot of people don't do it. So why not just have that leg up over your competition, right? Down here is not wonderful. You know, pausing. It's just, this is super low in the video. It's not, again, not the end of the world, but could throw it here. It's a little more conventional. And also just the way you've kind of done this titling is a little bit weird too. You know, having StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm redesign. Like that's kind of the title of the thing that you made, but you might as well say source is StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, and then parentheses Blizzard, parentheses. Why not? Blizzard Entertainment, as a courtesy to who made this thing. And then beneath that, sound redesign in a different kind of smaller, like subtext, subheading kind of font format, whatever. It's just more common, right? More typical. And further, no one's gonna care if your text is over top of this. Just throw a little background opacity thing. Like, don't make me open josh@bell.com. We've been over this again and again and again. It's just a little better in terms of presentation. So let's talk about material selection. So I mentioned already that it's 3 linear redesigns in a row. But I mean, Jake, the point of this reel is to give, if I have only a minute what can you tell me about you in a minute that sums up everything? Like a TLDR of your abilities, what you can bring to the table. That's what this reel is meant to do. And I would argue this reel is incomplete and inadequate in terms of telling us what you can do. I mean, scrolling down, like not even a full scroll wheel around, we see a Wise demo reel. This reel says absolutely nothing about I know Wise. I have interest in implementation. Down further, we have a game jam thing you did. This tells us that you are interested in you have experience working in a team. You're in there in the community doing stuff because you wanna, you know? So this is, I think this is falling short of giving us the full picture. Sure. A common rebuttal to that is, well, it's right there. Just scroll down. It's right there. You can see it's Wise, right? But every second counts. And the thing is, like, you have 3 things here. You absolutely have room for a Wise demo thing. Let's just like glance at that and see what we got. Man, I don't like this widget. What do we got here? Thank you for taking a listen. So this is different. Again, this is importing the YouTube content. What is Vimeo? What is this now? We haven't seen this. What up, Steve? How you going? We're now on Vimeo. This is okay. So you are linking to Vimeo from a YouTube video, and because you've linked to it, I'm going to take a look at it. Also, ! Period. Right. My goal of this course and reel is to, okay. Sure. Jake, we have a different thing here now, 2023. So we're linking to a thing. Is this old? It is definitely old. This is not current. And also it has nothing to do, like even less to do with the visual style of your website. Yes, it's old. Okay. But you're linking to it, right? So that's fine. Oh, the raid redesign. That's fun. So this isn't even games. These are the same thing you're showing elsewhere, it looks like, right? 2 minutes and 20. You did the whole redesign? Oh my God, that's a long redesign. Jesus. That's crazy. Holy. It's a lot of work. Okay, well, moving on. Let's watch this thing. 3.5 minutes. Or 3:49 rather. Almost 4. Let's have a look.
Hey, I'm Jake Greenstein, and this is my Wise and sound design demo for the 3D game kit.
Okay, I'm kind of fighting to hear your voice, aren't I? Is this quiet? I feel like I'm always just checking to see if things are quiet or not. Here is a song. Yeah. Yeah, it's not crazy. Let me see if I'm low on this side. I might be. Yeah, not crazy low though. Jeez. I don't know.
These sounds were created using synths, various plugins, field recordings via my Zoom H5n, Rode STG1 condenser mic, and my iPhone, as well as some library SFX. For the main character Ellen, I created a cue sheet with VO direction to cover her efforts and pop-up tutorials.
Yeah, feel free in the chat just to go to jakegreensteinsound.com and just click this reel and see if it's quiet for you as well. I feel like I don't trust my setup right now. I changed some things over a couple months back, and I'm still kind of fighting with it. I feel like I'm just I feel like it's a losing battle so far, and I just don't trust volume levels of things right now. But anyway, have a listen and see if you want to corroborate or not. For the time, but I mean, I can say regardless though, it feels like just relative levels here.
Hey, I'm Jake Greenstein.
Also, the quality of the recording, I mean, it's not great, Jake, right? You've got elsewhere that, I mean, you're doing like dialogue editing, right? Like you've for several years, you've been working in dialogue editing, but what's going on? So it sounds like you've recorded this into like a laptop or something. It doesn't, like, it sounds like it's a Zoom recording or something. So, like, why?
Hey, I'm Jake Greenstein, and this is my whys and...
You know, like, why not record at this level? At this quality? Throw a mic on, throw a compressor on, throw some EQ on. Like, it may seem like it's not necessary. And the, okay, so it is quieter in stream. Thanks, Alexander. I kind of suspected, because even playing that other song, I feel like should be louder for me. So, but now Mark says, compared to the main reel, it sounds a bit low. I think it's just quieter. I mean, certainly quieter than the main reel. So perhaps I'll leave volume stuff aside for a second, but just the quality of the recording, like it's, well, also, when was this made? Let's see here. It was made 5 months ago, so pretty recently. Yeah, I mean, it may be like a gear thing too. I understand that, you know, gear isn't free, but you can get a decent mic for not too much, you know? It's possible. And you can even do some wonders with like recording into a bad rig with like getting close to the thing, and you can get a little more like that plus plugins. This is not a fancy mic. I've had this mic for like 12 years. The voice recording was okay here. Okay, this is now a different conversation. Jake, you say the voice recording was super rushed last minute to get the video in on time. We don't care about your schooling. That's the thing. It does not matter at all. Now that your schooling is done 5 months ago, you are now tasked with making this thing not for me, not for Real Talk, not for even the folks you're applying to. It's not for them. It's for yourself. You know, what's up, Josh? Use a 10 quid Chinese condenser as your desktop mic. There you go. Like, it does not take much. Use some free plugins. Like, you absolutely have the capabilities to just make it sound better, you know? And the thing is, we haven't even watched your damn video yet. You know, like, we're not even talking about the contents of your video. We watched...
Hey, I'm Jake Greenstein.
5 seconds, 4 seconds. And now we're talking about the mic quality. We watched 4 seconds of a 4-minute video, man. And I'm not trying to roast you on stream here. This is what is going to be thought. Because if we oh man, it's just frustrating, because this kind of video is such an opportunity to show off so many things implicitly, you know? And the implicit things you can show off. Yes, this thing is called Game Audio Wise Demo Reel. And like we have, I'm glad we don't have 2 reels today, because we can talk a lot about this right now, a whole lot. We're only looking at Jake for, I don't know if I said that explicitly, but we're only looking at Jake Greenstein and stuff today. So yes, you took a course. That's good. Certainly. It's good in terms of you are learning things, and it was a vehicle, a process by which, like it was a vehicle by which you could learn this stuff. That's fantastic. But many people have taken this course. Hey, Sabrina. Many people have taken this course, and so now you are tasked with the the challenge of separating yourself from not only others who have taken this course specifically, but other people in the world who have taken their own respective courses at Full Sail, at VFS, wherever, DigiPen, right? So you are you are now tasked with rising above and showing the same thing that everyone else did is a good start. I mean, we have seen this Wise demo reel many times, certainly, of course. And the thing is, there are a lot of, I mean, not a ton, but there are a good solid handful of resources like this online. There is the Celeste Fmod project that we put out there, right? For the express purpose of, hey, learn to put your own stuff into a game with this resource. There's a bunch of things like that out there. So this is one of them, and it's good. So why not? Why not use it? Calling out that it was for the School of Video Game Audio, and now saying in the chat that you rushed something to get it in on time. I mean, A, is not a good look, but B, just is not relevant. Like, I don't really care that it was for the School of Video Game Audio. I mean, you can go back in and make it better yet now and say, here is my Wise demo reel, period. Who cares if it was for school, It doesn't matter. I don't care what your marks were. I don't care if it was rushed or something at the last minute. I don't care if there were limitations you faced. All that matters in the end is, does this thing sound awesome? And then we get into things like, well, all the implicit things I was talking about. Is the voiceover edited well? I also don't super care if you speak really clearly. I mean, it helps certainly if you seem like a good communicator, but things like, I know some people, I mean, myself included, are a little bit squeamish when it comes to like the sound of their own voice or whatever, but it's kind of secondary, it's not a huge issue. Like, we can get around that. I'm more concerned with like recording quality and if it's edited well, because, or even if there's, what kind of chain are you put on the voice? Are you compressing? Are you limiting? Are you expanding, compressing, EQing, whatever? Like all these things are considerations. And I mean, this is
my Wise and sound design demo for the 3D.
Is not great, right? And you've said yourself that it was rushed, but it was 5 months ago. So you could absolutely go back in here and redo this commentary today. It's a 4-minute video. Why not do it? Re-record it, re-record the exact same thing you said, and throw some beef, get some proximity effect in there, make it sound a little more put together. And if it was rushed, perhaps you can even think about it from an angle of, okay, I'm going to talk to this person like they're a friend. Like, hey, my name is, thank you so much for watching this thing. This is my whatever. Let's get into it. And if you have that kind of energy and enthusiasm, and I mean, if the voice just sounds good, if it sounds like we have, some consideration put into the gear and the plugins and so forth, we won't even be thinking about that stuff. Now we can it's like we're now presented this luxury of just focusing on the content, which is why this thing exists. Again, we were 4 seconds in. We've been talking about this for like 15 minutes. It's a large problem. Okay. And if we're straining to hear your voice over the content, or just due to the quality of the mic or whatever, not only are we distracted by the quality and thinking about that, like, oh, why didn't Jake? I mean, Jake works in audio editing. Like, why isn't it apparent? I mean, audio editing includes things like, what is your compression chain and stuff, right? Certainly includes that. So what's going on? It's just kind of, there are questions raised by this. But let's watch some.
Game kit.
But you got to remove this school stuff. It's just not relevant. Like, I'm much more interested in, what are you doing because you want to? There are, you could be making your own projects. We have personal projects that show up on this thing all the time, this stream all the time. And not that this is without value. It has value, absolutely. You're learning a lot. You're showing off what you've learned. There are challenges to face. You can talk about how you overcame those challenges. This is not a useless video, but you need to be thinking about this from an angle of, okay, what are people looking for though? What are they judging this by? I want to know what you are passionate about, not what you were forced to do on a deadline by a school course you took. It's not as, again, not useless, but it's not as effective as this thing that as something you made on your own time. I'm more stoked to see the magic mush thing at this point, because this is because you've told me this, you did this because you had to on a deadline, you know? Moving on.
These sounds were created using synths, various plugins, field recordings via my Zoom H5n, Rode STG1 condenser mic, and my iPhone, as well as some library SFX. For the main character Ellen, I created a cue sheet with VO direction to cover her efforts and pop-up.
Okay, it says I was asked by the instruction to include it. I can re-upload with redone VO. Asked by instruction to include it. Like the instructions of the course or of the assignment? Instructor. Okay, got it. I mean, sure. Sure. Again, it's not the end of the world if you're saying it, but understand it comes along with certain conclusions that are drawn by people who are reading it. That's all. I'm curious about that. If it's like hey, you took the course, please include this as a advertisement of the course, that might be a thing, I guess. But people that are watching this are not looking to learn. Like who is your audience though? Like people, I'm getting flustered and baffled. Like who is watching this video, Jake? Who is this aimed at? Serious question. I want to know who you think this is aimed at. Because that should define everything about how you're presenting it. It should inform all those things. And we've had people on here before who have, it's a classic issue, and it has all kinds of flavors of, okay, so you are, we've seen videos they're kind of put together like you are, I'm kicking myself now. Who the hell was it? Was doing, I was like an Italian name. I don't have it in front of me, but it was a Reaper, like a learn to use Reaper kind of video. And while great for that kind of context, it's on the website, and the website's purpose is to get you hired. And so I'm not interested in learning how to in the basics of using Reaper, because I'm just not, that's not why I'm here right now. It's cool to link and say, hey, I do these videos. That's great. But to have it there as, hey, this is my implementation demo reel, or this is my sound design reel on how I did this thing. It's it's not. I want, if you invite me to your office and say, hey, here's how I did this thing, you're not going to start out by saying, here's how you use Reaper. So that's a problem. There's also things like, okay, here is a demonstration of the work I did in this project, and they link to the trailer for the game. And it's not a demonstration of the work you did in that project. It might be, some of your work might feature in the trailer, but that video is not made for the audience of people looking to work with you. It is made for an audience of people looking to see if they want to buy the game or not, or play the game. So this measures into that. Who is this for? I don't think that it is for people who are considering it's the hashtag thing. Yeah. I mean, the hashtags are just part of YouTube. The School of Video Game Audio thing is, it's people who are looking at this thing are not considering what school to go to, you know? Like if you're applying to Power Up, like why am I looking into whether I want to look and go learn things from Leonard? You know, it's not it's not what I'm doing right now. I feel like I'm ranting. I apologize. These things are just, yeah, it's just, you need to be thinking about who is watching this thing, you know? Yeah, Alexander, I saw that earlier on. I was like, why are there hashtags here? And I learned that if you go to the video, all it's doing is this website's widget is pulling from the description, right? That's all that's happening. So fair enough. But why are you looking to, like when someone searches Unreal Engine 5, you want them to find your video? You know, is that just kind of questionable? Oh, I'm going to stop right here and watch this one instead because I'm way more interested in what this is. This is 2 minutes long. Game Jam, Sign Design, Magic Mush. Okay, so here is I also don't really want to read the description right now. I want to just have you tell me what this thing is. So let's see. Two-day game jam. Okay. Oh, no, you're not talking to us, Jake. I'm so mad, man. Jake, please. I want to learn about this so bad, and it's so hard. For the mini jam, game jam, I was part of the team that created Magic Mush. Over the 72-hour time frame, we created a puzzle speedrun game. I created all the aspects and submitted build. It was my first game jam, and it was a ton of fun and challenged me to quickly think of how to create sounds for all the elements, as well as incorporating feedback into V2 versions of some sounds. I didn't implement all the sounds, only designed them, but I plan on going back and doing a full. Okay, sure. So this was. Do you still plan on doing this? Because this is 3 months ago. Oh, game jam, sure. You can come back in and do some more things, but time has passed, you know? So are you, when you say things like, I plan on doing, I plan on going back, I plan on doing this eventually, the more time that passes, the more question marks appear. Like, oh, have you done this? Or do you still plan on doing this? So feel free to, I am asking you in the chat right now, like, please tell me, are you still planning? Also, I would like you to answer who you are aiming these videos at, you know, because it's if you are looking to build an audience, if you are looking to inform other students and such, as far as, or other prospective potential students of that course, then so be it. You know, have that kind of stuff in there. But yeah, please tell me if you're, yeah, it just, I don't, it's just like, it's just there's so much clarity that can be added here. Because the thing is, I'm asking these questions and you aren't going to be in the room with the people you're applying to. If you want to work on, you know, games like Destiny or something, like those kind of first-person shooter AAA teams, then you aren't going to be in the room when they're looking over your work. You know, like it needs to be presented from an angle of, hey, come on into my office. Here's this thing I made. Pretty cool, right? And further, it's, again, we mentioned this at the top of the reel, but like this stuff, like this kind of presentation with the dots and these fonts and the colors and everything, I mean, like that has nothing to do with the presentation here. Or, I mean, you have the impact font across these videos, you know? So that's common, I guess, but it's not on your main page. So there is this kind of push and pull. So it seems like you have been thinking about that, which is good. But then your website kind of betrays that theming a little bit. Well, a lot. So think about that. You've been asking the main dev for the project, but haven't gotten it yet. Then some life stuff got in the way. Yeah, understandable. You know, 100%. Which is not the end of the world. Of course. Like, and totally understandable. I mean, I am like, everyone is busy, you know? It's hard. It's hard to find time for these things. But realize that when you do include language like, I plan on doing this, it starts, you know, it's totally realistic and reasonable to say, hey, I did a game jam. Check it out. Full stop, you know? You don't need to further justify and clarify and say, I know it's not very good, but like it's a game jam. I understand if there's things you didn't quite want to, or didn't quite make it all the way to where you want them to get. That's every single game jam that's ever happened, right? Of course. So you don't really need to be like disclaimering stuff like that, or even planning to go back and do it. Like you can if you want, but you don't even need to have to tell us that. And also, it's the kind of thing where saying I want to do this one day is maybe like fine for a, you know, chatting over a beer. Like, let's do this one. We'll see if I find time for it, but not sure if I will or not. We'll see. That's fine to share like in a conversation, but in terms of presenting it on your website like this, it's like, it's not that it's useless information. It's that it's taking up space that could be taken up with something else that's more relevant and frankly effective in terms of your goal of being hired. Saying I plan to one day is a completely hollow thing to include, and not like I think you won't or something. Like, you know, of course you have the capability to one day, and hopefully they get back to you and you can do that. That'd be cool to jump back in and keep working on something like that. But it's just not really giving me, as a person who is looking to work with you one day, like AAA studio, recruiter, whoever this person is, it's just zero information, right? Like it's not really adding anything else to the conversation, or to like your clipboard of like check, plus, minus, whatever those things are. It's just a nothing. It's like okay, great, you plan on doing something, but there's nothing to show for it right now, right? So it's not really useful to have there. Let's talk about some content stuff. We've been like jumping around a lot about presentation. I mean, it is your biggest issue right now, certainly, because your design is not bad by any stretch. There's room to improve. I think the StarCraft clip is like one of the better ones that we've heard in a while. I mean, it's a bit overdone. I mean, we've seen this clip probably I don't know, 20 times on Real Talk, you know? Is this part of the School of Video Game Audio's work, I wonder? Is that why we see it so much? Or do you just choose to do this because you wanted to? Please answer that. I'm curious. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a very fun clip, right? So you felt like doing it on your own. That's totally fine. Realize that with clips from, I mean, Blizzard is a common culprit because their cinematics are just good. So it stands to reason people flock to it to do redesigns, right? But just realize that this is something we see a lot. So, and by we, I mean like the industry just sees a lot in terms of redesigns. So you are going to be, it's two things. You'll be measured up against everyone else who's done this before. And also they kind of just blur together when you've seen so many of them. I don't know that I've seen this clip specifically before, actually. I don't think I have. So that was nice. And this one, I think we've seen a couple times also, but again, not the end of the world. But let's talk about some content things, shall we? Let's go. Yeah, I do like how you're moving focus between things. It feels like you're pretty actively considering these things. Like, oh, what is the current focus of the clip from moment to moment, and we will adjust the mix to suit. You know, where are the guns? Can we turn them down? Can we make it sound more distant? Like, that's kind of all important things to consider for sure. I think it maybe is like overstepping a bit. Like the pendulum is swinging a bit far. We have these guns. We hear them right here. And there's a lot of gunfire here. Of course, we don't hear this guy anymore, for obvious reasons. Ah-bam. Gun stops there. but there is the, I mean, the gun stops, right? But like, there are more guns that you do hear over when the camera's farther away, but you don't in some cases. And I think you have room at that right channel to hear it still, you know? Yeah, I'm straining for it. You can kind of hear it, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big guns, like shooty guy. It's not my forte. I think that there are some gun people in the chat who might have some thoughts on like this, for instance, right there. It's a bit like thup thup thup, you know. Do 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 do. Might be room to be a little more complex in terms of what those shots sound like. A little more like multi-stage as opposed to like dut 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 dut. I know Sean Lavelle is often in the chat here saying like single syllable gunfire, single syllable gunfire. There's more room to have a bit more of a phrase, even to like that single shot, you know? And those single syllables, they kind of make a little more sense when you're farther away, I guess, because you don't need to be quite so detailed because the focus is elsewhere. But when you're right in the face like this, it's like da, you know. There's a little more room to be. I mean, because we're so close to it, it's filling the screen, so we kind of need to hear a little more detail in terms of what's happening with those shots each time. Okay, so let's move on though. I'd like to hear a little more Foley there on the pull. It's a lot of on the shield. And the thing is, because it's that da is there's a lot of it, right, in this shot. Yeah. So because there's so much of it, it's kind of come to the front, and it's, if it's underserved, it's going to just be a little more magnified, right? Vocalization's pretty cool. Nice job. I'm so bad at vocalizations for things like this, and I like it. You could probably have a little more. You could dive further into, oh, what other kinds of vocalizations can there be? Because you have the raw, which is nice, but perhaps it squeals, perhaps it like whines or shrieks or whatever when there's different things happening. So here's like an aggressive roar, right? Raw, and it's like, ooh, and it shakes away. Is there room to have something there? Like that roar there seemed like pain, you know? Ooh. It's not super different than the aggressive roar, though, you know? There's room to kind of think about a little more characterization of what's going on in this guy's head, you know? Are they feeling stuff? You know? What is the reaction? And can you convey that? If you close your eyes and listen, can you tell there's, oh, it's pain, or oh, that's anger, or whatever. Yeah, I don't think if we closed our eyes we could tell the difference between these roars. So maybe there's room to kind of further inject a little more information and a little more support for the storyline into the audio. Let's watch the StarCraft clip. Yeah, there's some multi-stage stuff. This feels like it's more recent in terms of design. Am I correct with that? Excuse me. I think it's more recent. If I go to your videos, can we see this? Videos. 3 months. It's older, 4 months. Oh, this is a reel. My bad. This is also 4 months. Here's the source. 4 months, 4 months. So if I can be trusted, I mean, they're all 4 months though, so perhaps it's hard to tell. But this feels a little more mature than the other one. Yeah, there's some great detail in these, like these wide shots, big. I believe it, you know. Yeah, this is kind of it's a real nitpick, but you can probably stand to have a little more consideration for the complexity of your transients, or whether they are just like, kind of like it happens here only. So things like the stomp here, you have these, we have these articulations of it building out. When it comes down, it's just duh, you know? Duh. I assume that transient is like just and then away. But you know, you have room for things like if I go paint, if we have where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. If we have a transient like and here's your stomp, you know, done. I guess more like this. There's your stomp. Even like this can go a long way, you know? Just a bit of a like kada, you know? Because that probably is what would happen if we look at this thing. If we have, you know, we have the sides where they're kind of hanging down. So like this spot right here would probably impact before this spot right here. Does that make sense? And even if it's not going to, it's probably going to be just more orally interesting if we have gadij as opposed to duh. That's one thing that is a really kind of a hack. If you're designing like a UI click or like a button or whatever, just some kind of design, if you feel like you just can't get it to be more interesting, and you have all these layers, you have 4, 5, 13 layers, and you're like, I keep adding things and it's just not getting better. Just try moving. Just stagger things like you're saying there. Just stagger some. Just try staggering your layers slightly and just see what you get. I imagine it's going to be more interesting right away. And given your kind of single syllable gunfire, given like this duh here, also the first shot, poof, a lot of build up and then dish, you know, it's just it's right away. Why not just you know, but then just something like that. You have a little more room to explore a bit with those transients. And again, total nuanced nitpick, but I think it might be a nice little addition to your sound design. You got a lot of good design choices otherwise. You're doing that pre-life. You're doing little drop-offs before that hit, right? This big thing happens. You have and then nothing for a sec. It's great. You know, little drop-off just to make that moment a little more dynamic. We're going from nothing to a lot. It's great. Again, this is the same note as that gunfire at far right in the previous clip. You are certainly shifting focus a lot to take away those things that are far away and bring what's in front of the camera way up. I think you have room to bring those distant things up a little bit. It feels like it's too taken away, you know? Like these, this would be so loud if you're in that battlefield. Like this guy probably has some room to come up some more. Just, yeah, think of it. I think you probably already are plenty, but there's room to, I think there's some room to calibrate a bit further in terms of what is present in the mix, what's loud, what's still audible a little more than it is right now, you know? Like that feels like a drop off right there. Going from all this gunfire, all these, this is a crazy artillery, just front line, right? And then we move over here. It's just gone. It's like, there's nothing there. And sure, there's room to have a little silence before this impact for that big dynamic moment, that transient, but it just feels like it's too much of a drop off. It's inaccurate to what that would sound like, I think. And even here, like maybe there's room to bring this rolly guy up front. It's kind of a feature, right? Right by the camera. Yeah, and there too, it's like we have like no guns. You know, it's still right there. And while this scene is, this clip right here is about this squish, a little bit there, you know, just to, that floor can come up just a hair. That was great, by the way. Love this. Good movement. Loved all that. Yeah, textures, movement, frequency range stuff. Really good. It's kind of betrayed. The last minute betrays the quality of the rest of it. The last moment here, it's like and just cuts off on the Foley. Also, just it's kind of a weak finish in general, just for engagement reasons. You know, nothing's really happening. I feel like ending just this last 10 seconds is such a ramp down. It's kind of an interesting exercise, but it just doesn't feel like it's... Maybe it's just me, but yeah, this doesn't feel like a very strong finish compared to the quality of the rest of the design. Yeah, this is a strong piece on the whole. Really nice. Big fan of this, like, woof, this wisping past. Pretty cool. Okay, so... anything else to discuss here? I mean, what's this? Oh, UI.
Another chance to train. Good. We don't want to get rusty.
VO credit. Okay.
Another chance to train. Good. We don't want to get rusty. You show promise. I hope you can deliver.
Okay.
Another chance to train. Good. We don't want to get rusty.
What is happening in this video right now? Am I crazy? What is... I'm so confused. Is this a me problem again?
Another chance to train. Good. We don't want to get rusty.
Okay. And then what? The same thing but louder? Am I missing something? Sound and dialogue redesign for the character selection of Ash. Yeah, okay, of course. We know this. But why is it this? Is it not the same thing twice? It sure seems like it. Or is there, and then just have voice by
Another chance
itself?
to train. Good.
Or are you separating the voice and the sound design or something?
We don't want to get rusty. Be programmed.
I don't super get the presentation of this thing. Same thing, no VO. Okay, yeah, I was mostly just confused. Because it's redundancy, isn't it? I don't need to hear the dialogue is fine. You know, it's not bad by any stretch.
Another chance to train. Good. We don't want to get rusty.
Like, the dialogue is not stomping on the sound effects, or vice versa. And it's strange that it's just suddenly louder for the second time around. Like, significantly louder. Yeah, there's kind of some of that, like, transient stuff in here as well. It's not brutal. but it's right. It's all duh, 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 duh. Yeah, I would be really curious if you start focusing on that idea for these moments in time you're designing, Jake. I feel like you might be surprised. It might be a significant level up without that much effort, you know?
Enough.
Yeah. Okay. Perhaps, I mean, if you really want to separate them, then some titling just saying separated or something that would be helpful there. But like, I don't think you need to personally. Savior's redesign. This is the whole thing. Or is this same length? 113. It is long. Okay, cool. And this is a full 222 or whatever it was. Bio. And then we didn't even watch this thing. Like, watch a little bit more to finish the stream, but like.
Hey, I'm Jake Greenstein, and this is my Wise and Sound Design demo for the 3D game kit. These sounds were created using synths, various plugins, field recordings via my Zoom H5n, Rode STG1 condenser mic, and my iPhone, as well as some library SFX.
So
Field recordings via my Zoom H5n, Rode STG1 condenser mic.
Like, these are better mics than the one you used. You know, it's just showing off like, I have gear, I just didn't use it, you know?
My iPhone, as well as some library SFX. For the main character Ellen, I created a cue sheet with VO direction to cover her efforts and pop-up tutorials.
Cool.
My friend Jordan helped out with the vocalizations. The tutorial VO is important for newer players to get a handle on the mechanics of the game, so I wanted to make sure that they were clearly heard when prompted.
That's important. Nice.
I use side chaining as well as a high-pass filter to clear up some room for the VO to sit.
Love that. The idea of saying, hey, I had a problem to solve, and here's how I did that.
Where am I?
I love the why as well. The why is really good, as opposed to like, I did a thing just because. It's like, this is important for game reasons. Here is the game reason, and here's the solution. It's nice.
Can I even move my legs? I'll try W, A, S, and D. Maybe they'll start to feel normal.
Oh, but it doesn't match though. Normal again. Normal period? That's too bad.
Here's a quick breakdown of my design behind the Golem's close range energy burst, like shield attack. All the sounds were created using Vital and Whoosh. I broke the attack down into 7 different layers, and when I had the sounds for each layer that I wanted, I exported the layers individually so that later on in Wise, I could apply different levels of randomization to them. The first layer is the main impact of the sound. The second is the whoosh of the initial attack. Next are the more energy tonal components. The fourth layer is like a crispy short static, kind of acting as a sweetener to help round out the sound. The orange files are for the energy ring around the golem dissipating, helping to notify that the dangerous portion of the attack is over. The last 2 layers are for the sphere shield, the top layers being the more tonal constant, while the bottom layer is to help emphasize that the shield is dropping and the golem is about to be open for attack.
And you're going to vary these in Wise?
I took advantage of Wise's RTCP system by using the character location to map out a special reverb zone in a stone room.
Oh, we just don't. So, yeah, Steve, I mean, voice count is a thing. Certainly. It definitely is. Yeah, I've seen this a few times now as far as like breakdown videos. Like, we're going to break down this thing into many, many layers. And, okay, well, I was really curious how you were going to vary them, because it seems like there's only one layer here. I can't see anything else in this clip, in this video to show that. But if you have only the one thing, I guess you're pitching them separately or something? Like you're pitching up and down for each bit to get a little more interest to it. But then pitching this is a problem because of duration reasons. But, okay. Or it could be at least. It's only, well, it's not too long. It's 12, no, it's a few seconds. So it could be an issue. These ones, I guess, so be it. Sure. It's interesting. But then you don't show us what you did. You just said, yeah, I plan to do it this way, but then don't do it. So
I took advantage of
fine.
this RTCP system by using the character location to map out a special reverb zone in a stone room. By using the emitter orientation and a blend track, I transitioned between a general golem engine tone to one specifically for the golem's rear sphere to help direct the player to its weak spot.
Yeah, I think just part of the presentation here too, maybe it's just me, but it feels like I'm having to kind of reacquaint with what you're talking about. You know, we're talking about one thing for a bit, and then
Here's a quick breakdown of my design behind the golem's close range energy burst, like shield attack.
yeah, okay. So yeah, it just feels like you're leading from one thing to another, and then the next thing doesn't have anything to do with it. So we have like the reverb, and then it's like, and now we're into this thing now. So perhaps it's just a, I don't know, scripting thing or something as far as how you're presenting it from thing to thing. But, and again, that might just be me, but.
That said, here's the golem fight in full.
Here it is. Yeah, so I know this isn't what this video is about, but one thing that is coming up a lot, just watching this right now, in terms of content stuff, Jake, is varying up frequency focus from thing to thing, and especially for different, when different attacks or moments or whatever, actions, events, when they mean different things to the player, it can be pretty important to make sure they're differentiated and audible and like identifiable. Because if you listen through this sequence here from around here or so, sure. And again, and then it's kind of all like that burst thing, and even the build. It's like it's all kind of hanging out in the same kind of character, you know. Like the shot at the top and the AOE don't sound that different, you know. And even the vocals, like the kind of the vocalizations of the character are kind of, they're all in there too. So we don't have this like separation or room for things to kind of be their own. Even the death is the same thing, you know? They're all kind of the same. And while each sound is kind of fine, kind of in isolation, certainly and good in many cases, putting them all together, we have this very limited kind of picture of what this guy is. And there isn't a lot of, you have all this canvas to work with, and we're just right in the middle right here. And it's all right there. Even the final burst, you know, final death moment. and it dies right there in the panorama, just right there only. And for this big moment, why not have like a wider element too, you know? There's certainly, I recognize it's a school project, of course, but just in terms of further kind of gussying up these moments, the death is a final moment it'll happen. We could go wide with that, have a big wide kind of stereo element underneath that spatialized element. Have a mixture of the two, just to make it nice and wide. Nothing's taking up that space, so left and right, so why not use it? You know, we don't need to worry about masking things or about overstaying our welcome or anything, really. Like, nothing needs that space right now, so let's put it to work for a big dramatic moment like that, you know? Okay, we can probably stop there. Jake, I think you're messaging, and you're... just take a step back and consider who this website is for, and then ask yourself if all the ways you're presenting these things, your phrasing, especially, just how you are packaging everything here, every detail, take a step back and ask yourself if this is packaged for the appropriate audience, you know? Think about the consistency of language and of visual style and like what pieces appear in the reel. There's all these things to consider that you could probably make some pretty easy tweaks to. Like, the work you've done so far is not bad by any stretch. There's some really good design decisions in here. This is absolutely at the level of a junior designer. Absolutely. It just comes down to these places where you are not getting pluses and other candidates absolutely are. And you're just going to be, you're going to be shut out, you know? They will have that leg up on you and you will not get the job. So it's on you. I know life stuff happens, of course. So it's just down to when you want to get these things done. And the thing is, that deadline for getting this thing in, how helpful was that deadline, right? Deadlines have a wonderful effect of forcing your hand to get things done to a shippable quality. And then now it's just up to you to say, well, how, when do I want to update my stuff? And how much do I want to do? And what's on this task list, et cetera, et cetera. And it's all for you. It's for yourself. So these are choices for you to make. And I encourage you to put that time in, certainly, because you've done a lot of work here, obviously, a lot of really good work to do this because you wanted to. And it's 2+ minutes long is crazy. That is such a beast of a personal project. So I'm applauding you here. There just are certain question marks being raised here and there. Like, I mean, the voiceover thing is huge. There's no commentary here. So you saw me. I was like, I want to watch this video. I want to watch it. And I pressed play and I was like, okay, my bad. I don't want to watch this because you're not talking to me. I don't want to read all this text and have to figure out what this thing is. Just tell me. Tell me why this is awesome. What is the mini jam game jam? You can talk about these things in this video, you know? And then this one, the dialogue being recorded kind of poorly, despite the fact that you're saying here you have several years of dialogue experience. And you show us the gear that you chose not to use. You know, there's just various question marks that are raised. And again, you're not going to be over the shoulder of the person that you're applying to, just to clarify all these things. Just try to think of all the places you might need to clarify something and just preempt it, you know? Just put the work in to remove every question. And then think about questions they may have about the content, about your abilities, about whatever, and then craft answers to those questions. Because you've put, and just have those answers down below. Have it in the description, have it in the commentary, have it in a supplementary material down below they can click and watch more of if they so choose. I mean, you're in a great spot. I hope you don't feel like, oh man, I got roasted. But I apologize. Again, not the goal here. Not the goal. But dude, like you're in a great spot right now. You have a lot of good work you've done. And not just about like how you're packaging it, which is the easy part. It's the fun part. Okay, so I have no claps button. I wish I did, because this is really strong. There's a lot of strong work here. But just you're like hamstringing yourself, So please just smooth these things out, please. And feel free to follow up. I know you have to watch that first half hour. You weren't here for that, but no sweat. Feel free to follow up and ask stuff if I didn't address anything in particular you want to talk about or clarify things or whatever. Please feel free. Okay. Thanks so much. And I'm gonna go back over to One Must Fall because this soundtrack slaps. So good. It's good. Yeah, so good. All right, thanks everyone for weighing in. Of course, appreciate that. Thank you, Jake, for finding your way here and being in the chat and stuff. Always helpful. And if you want to submit your own work to Real Talk, feel free to do so at powerupaudio.com or on Twitter. And I will make an effort to slot you in somewhere. I need to catch up on submissions a bit. Actually, I might do that a weekend or something. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see you. This was actually a postponed stream, so I will see you next week for more of this. It's possible we may take a hiatus soon because we have some deadlines that are a little bit looming and kind of scary. So I need to deal with that as well. But I guess stay tuned. We'll see. I'll make sure. I do enjoy this a brief diversion each week or each 2 weeks to jump into this and kind of take a step away from work and get back in fresh again. But sometimes it's go time, So we'll see what we can do. But until next time, we'll see you. And yeah, thanks for being here. Cheers.